stocks will crash further than what we saw with Powell if this one thing happens. We come over and look at the fear and greed index. We're sitting at 27, and earlier in the day, we actually saw a reading at 26. Now, will the Santa Claus rally bring holiday cheer to investors, or are we about to see the Grinch? Are we about to see a very, very ugly stock market during this time period? Yesterday, we heard Jay Powell talking about inflation's a little bit stickier. It's going to take until 2027 before we come down to the 2% target. Now we see a food giant hikes inflation outlook as prices of meat and eggs remain high. This is something that every household needs, right? We need food. And with these higher prices and state inflation still being sticky, what is that going to mean for disposable income? However, that's not the worst thing that we have to worry about. However, when we look right here, U.S. Congress stumbles towards shutdown as Trump demands action on debt ceiling. And what this goes on to say is the government could shut down as early as the 21st, meaning over the weekend, the government could be shut down right before Christmas. To me, that does not sound like Santa Claus is coming. We come over and we look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was up 15 points. The Nasdaq was down 19 points. S&P 500 down 5, in the Russell 2000 down 0.96. Now, when we look at advanced issues versus declining, we can see we had 52.3% of issues declining on the day. And as we come over and look at the sectors across the board, utilities were by far outshining everything else, followed by financials. The laggers out there today was real estate, basic materials, and healthcare. Now, we come over and actually start looking at the Dow Jones real quick. I'm going to look at the Diamonds Index. MACD on the daily chart still looks extremely weak. However, notice what we did today, basically an inside day, and we were talking about this quite a bit on the live stream with all the indices out there. So is this nothing more than a pause and we're getting ready to go lower? Once again, we closed lower than where we actually opened on the day. And again, the Dow just simply cannot catch a break. We come over and we look at this on the 30-minute chart. Big push down, consolidation near the lows. And you guys know how I feel about that. A lot of times, consolidation near lows leads to lower prices. We basically have a D as in dog shape profile. And we talked about this today on the live stream. Is this going to basically go ahead and take out the lows from yesterday? Now, that wasn't only in the Dow, because if we come over and we look at the Qs real quick, Qs today actually went a little bit lower than what we saw out here yesterday with Jay Powell. Could the Qs be in store for a much deeper pullback? We come over here, we pull the Fibonacci retracement from the swing low right up here to the swing high. Notice we broke the 50% level. The next logical stop would be the 61.8 at about 511.34. We look out here on the daily profiles. What do we see out here today? You can see today we're able to push a little bit lower, but in yesterday afternoon's video, what did I talk about to expect today? A D as in dog shape profile. And that's exactly what happened. If you guys were on the live stream today, you kept seeing my thought process, what I was anticipating in the market. And if you don't want to miss it next time I go live, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. But now the question is, are we about to go substantially lower? Because if we start looking, let's say at the 4-hour chart, we can still see we have a lot further to fall. The MACD indicator is nowhere near the zero line at this point. And when we come over and we start looking at the futures markets real quick, what do we see? 4-hour chart, big, massive move on the way down. Now, even though the Qs went lower, the futures markets have not broken the low from Jay Powell. And the reason for that is the futures markets continue to trade until 5 p.m. However, today we had a very minor retracement on the way up. If you notice, we were not even able to make it up to the 38% retracement, and then we started to turn back down. Now, one of the things that we kept watching for on the live stream today, I kept talking about, and you can see the arrow right here, was I want to see, can we sweep the overnight lows? And if we do we firm up? Well, we didn't sweep those lows until the very end of the day, but we also talked about if we break the low from yesterday, watch out. Do we essentially break and then do we come back up, or do we simply hold below that price point? It's going to be very important. Now, today I would classify the profile shape as a D as in dog. And as we look at value area low, we can see that comes in at about 21,461.50. Notice, what are we doing? After hours, it appears we're going to close below that price point, which means within the next 1 to 2 days, it's highly probable we're going to come back and test that price point. Now, we also have the point of control up here at 21,482.75, with value area high being up here at 21,604.25. Now, one of the things I want to be on the lookout for, if I'm going to target this area tonight, I want to see, can we break the low from yesterday? If that checks the mark, if we check that box off, Then can we get back above that low? If the answer is yes, this is going to be my primary target, trying to have a retest of that level. And that's assuming that we haven't already hit that level before we come down and break that low. Now, if we do start breaking the low, where would be the next stop? Well, if we look out here, let's pull our Fibonacci retracement from the swing low all the way up here towards the all-time high. And notice the 61.8 fib level was hit yesterday. The 78.6 level is all the way down here at a price point of about 21,041. So that would be the next logical stop if we indeed do break below yesterday's low. Now, there could be a little bit of a hiccup right here near this high volume node at a price point of 21,160. Now, if you want a way to support the channel and you trade with prop firms like Apex, My Funded Futures, or even Take Profit Trader, use the links in the description box down below. Then as we come over and look at the volatility index today, notice the VIX was down 13%. And what that leads us to believe is if the VIX drops, if the VIX is up or down more than 10%, we expect the VIX to go the opposite way the next day. Since the VIX was up over 10% yesterday, we expected the VIX to drop. That's what happened. Now that the VIX dropped again today, more than 10%, what does that set up? Highly probable that we're going to go ahead and see the VIX spiking again. Now, it's not just the threat of a government shutdown, but let's not forget, tomorrow, we also have the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. We have the core PCE price index coming out at 8:30 a.m. We also have at 10 a.m. revised consumer sentiment, revised inflation expectations, and tomorrow is going to be triple witching. So you know what that means? A lot of times we see a knee jerk one way, knee jerk back the other way. But when we add in the dynamic about a potential government shutdown, that really is going to be interesting how things play out for tomorrow. We look out here at the dollar index pushing higher once again. And with the dollar pushing higher, let's not forget we have this ABC structure on the way up. That pattern will actually complete up here at about 110. Now, today with the dollar going up, what do we think happened in Bitcoin? Bitcoin getting smacked down, now down at 97,000, no longer holding the six-figure number. Then as we come over and we look at the precious metal gold real quick, gold today basically hovering near the lows from yesterday. And let's not forget, all right, we've had a hard time. We were not able to firm up near that hammer candle. Now, gold could be in a dangerous spot where it could come all the way down towards about 25,047 near this high volume node on the composite profile. As we come over and we take a look at the SPY real quick, you can see barely breaching through the lows of yesterday. MACD indicator on the daily chart still looks extremely weak at this moment. Then as we dive down, look at the 4-hour chart, we are below the zero line, but I don't see any firming up of the MACD indicator just yet. Even on the 1-hour chart, I don't see any signs of the MACD indicator firming up. Even if we go ahead and we put on the sequential count, where are we at? We closed out on bar number 2. So the first 1-hour candle tomorrow could be bar number 3. Now, what we look for is a 9 count. So that gives us a heads up that tomorrow we're likely to see further downside action. Out here on the 30-minute chart, we can see we've retested essentially yesterday's low. Can we firm up, or do we break the low and actually set up some type of MACD divergence? I think that is highly likely going to be in the cards. You also see the D-shaped profile. That signifies tomorrow is likely going to be a breakout or breakdown from this pattern. Now, with a D-shaped profile, as a reminder, what do we anticipate? The first way we break, more often than not, tends to be a false break and the market goes the other way. For example, look right up here. What do we have? A D-shaped profile. The first way we broke was up, and then Jay Powell sunk the market substantially out here yesterday. Now, as we come over and look at the S&P futures markets, notice we were able to come up towards the 38% retracement. We wicked it here just a little bit, and then we simply turned right back down. Now, we're within the wick of the low candle from yesterday. Then as we come over and we start looking at the 30-minute profiles, notice we were finally able to sweep the overnight lows. However, we weren't able to get back above that level. Tonight, I'm going to be watching. Can we flush through the low of today? Then can we get back above that price point? If the answer is yes, I am then going to look to target value area low, which is going to be an untested value area low. We are closing below that price point, and that really comes in somewhere in the ballpark of 5951.75. The point of control will be 5962.00. with value area high being 5985.50. So in order for me to really want to target this area, I want to see the low of yesterday broken. Then I want to see the market get back into that level. Then I want to go ahead and see, can we make it all the way up there towards that price point? Now, if you guys want to learn about the pros and cons of Take Profit Trader, make sure to watch this video right here.